everyone, and welcome back to another video. So I'm so excited for today's video. It's gonna be a fun one. We're basically today going to be experimenting with food photography and Christmas baking. So I've even got my fun Christmas sweater on that I wear every Christmas. So if you follow Olympus over on Instagram, you will have seen that they've been releasing this thing called the 12 Days of Christmas. And basically every day they release a different topic regarding photography and the holiday season. And I felt so inspired after watching one of the videos with Gavin Hoey photographing Christmas baking. So what I've done is I've gathered a few photography tips when it comes to food photography, and we're basically going to experiment with them today and our Christmas bark. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So we are back. The Christmas bark has now frozen pretty much. I did find that with the test batch that I did last night, they don't stay frozen for very long. I think you have to kind of keep them in the freezer in order for them to keep their shape and not melt, unlike if you're working with chocolate. But because I'm working with yogurt, I think that's just the case. So I'm gonna have to try and move through this pretty fast before they start to melt. Alright, so in the Olympus's video regarding the 12 days of Christmas, doing, festive food photography, the first 3 tips that they gave was the setup, the lighting, and style. Now out of the 3, I'm only going to experiment from those tips with the lighting and styling, and then we're going to get into some other tips where I did some additional digging just regarding food photography and just experiment with those. So the first one that I'm going to experiment with is the lighting. Now it's actually pretty bright outside, so I'm really just going to use the natural light and the natural shadows that are created by my kitchen window. So I'm going to start with that, and then we'll get into the setup. I forgot to mention that I'm going to be taking all of these photos on 2 cameras. The first is going to be my EM1 Mark II with the 12 to 40 millimeter lens from Olympus, and then I'm also going to take the photos with my phone as well, just to do like a bit of a comparison shot for maybe any of you that don't have like a camera like a mirrorless or a DSLR. Alright, so the third tip that they gave in the video was regarding styling. So I have some leftover crushed candy canes and like red and green M&Ms. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle them on the tray that I have now with the Christmas bark on, just to kind of style it around that. And I'm going to try moving the camera maybe a little bit more. Alright, so the lighting's going to be tricky because I don't want to turn on my kitchen light, so hopefully you get a better sense of what I'm trying to do here. So the first two tips, it was about the styling and it was about the lighting. And so in this one, I did some additional digging for food photography tips on, so something that we're going to experiment with now is continuity and shape, but different pattern. And so I was originally going to make stars out of my Christmas bark. However, because of how thick the bark was and how brittle it was being, I couldn't actually create the star shapes. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to try finding like-minded shapes out of my Christmas bark but have the different pattern, and then I'm going to put it out. I'm going to try just shooting it on some parchment paper to see what kind of effect that creates. Let's get into it. Alright, so the next one that we're going to do is incorporating a Christmas container into the photo. So I have this old gingerbread house Christmas tin that I have from last year when I made some Christmas cookies. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to lay out the tin and just kind of rest the lid off to the side because I kind of want to get the pattern of the lid in the photo, and then I'm going to layer all of my Christmas bark into the tin and shoot from a pretty top down frame. Alright everyone, so we're going to do our last tip today, which is incorporating a person into the photo. So what I have here is I've got my little Santa tray with the M&Ms and the crushed candy canes, and then I've got my Christmas bark on top. And what I'm going to do is I've got my tripod and my Olympus set up here, and I've just got it set to continuous. So I'm going to set the camera, I'm going to pick up the tray, get it in position, and it's going to take 5 photos. And then I'm just going to choose the one that's my favorite. So I just don't really know how I'm going to do it with my phone. I'm going to wait. I'll see if Max comes home from his run soon so he can kind of take the photo. But you kind of need a tripod for this one. Alright everyone, so that is everything for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in and experimenting with me today. I actually had a lot of fun doing this kind of different creative photo shoot with, you know, festive bakery items. Let me know down in the comments which photo and which tip was your favorite. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button and subscribe so you'll get notified when the next video goes up. And I'll see you next time.